This is part 2 missing on the Appalachian Trail. Although we mention the Appalachian Trail in this series, the information acquired is worthy for any hiker in any region. I am Maèxelawèn Osapèkwinùnt. You can call me Yankee, and welcome to my channel, Yankee's Outdoor Adventures. I have researched many accounts of rescued hikers who have gone missing in an attempt to figure out exactly what leads to their going missing in the first place. This research includes over 25 years of missing people and their accounts to help you identify the most common ways adults go missing in North America, as well as how they survive. It's important to make note that the majority of hikers who are found alive after going missing are usually hikers who were originally prepared for a long hike in the first place. It's the day hikers up to the 3-day hikes who tend to be at highest risk, and I'll explain why. But first, if you haven't seen part 1 to this series, I encourage you to click on the slide card at the top of the screen. It may save your life. 40% of surviving missing people become missing by accidentally straying off the trail. Another 16% purposely left the trail and could not find their way back. Losing the trail can happen to even the most experienced hikers. Although sometimes they leave the trail for the reason of getting closer to the wildlife for that perfect picture, research shows that the majority of people who lose the trail do so when they encounter a decision point in the trail. This is a spot that looks like the trail goes in 2 different directions. However, they find out one of the trails is either created by water runoff or by animals, and following it leads them into a maze of rugged, heavily vegetated terrain. A lot of times with missing hikers, hypothermia is the leading cause of death. So how do these people survive? The research shows 12% of the survivors most frequently mentioned they avoided hypothermia because of the gear they had packed, such as extra clothing or a heavy jacket. With dehydration being another major cause of death, it's important to note 13% of most survivors had their own water source. The research found 42% were able to find a water source, may it have been a lake, a creek, or a puddle, or acquired it from licking leaves and sucking moss. Most survivors are found before starvation is ever an issue, but 35% of the missing hikers had food that they could ration and keep their energy levels up. This research suggests that the best way to survive getting lost in a national park is to already have the clothing and gear needed for warmth and shelter, as well as food and water. In most cases, these are the things that a day hiker is not prepared to carry, and a overnight backpacker just doesn't seem to have enough of the items with them. If you're already prepared for a long hike and you get stuck in bad weather or you lose your way, you can easily ration out your supplies, set up your camp, and survive through the night. More research shows that out of the approximate 100 search and rescue incidents in a year in the Smoky Mountain National Park alone, approximately 90% of those are day hikers. Day hikers are comprised of 42% of the 40,000 plus search and rescue cases reported in the last 25 years, almost 4 times the amount of the next closest group, which is overnight backpackers. They're at about 13%. To make sure you don't become one of those percents that are missing even during a day hike, you should always have the gear that'll prepare you for the longer stay: shelter, warm clothing, food, water. It's important to remember that even a comfortable 65-degree hiking weather, if you get wet and you're unable to dry your clothing or get warm, hypothermia can set in. And don't forget, injury helps compound the threat of hypothermia. Another big mistake hikers make: thinking that the trailhead is nearby or the gift shop or what have you, that they're just a real quick 911 call away from rescue. When the fact is, if you're actually able to get 911 service and you don't know your exact location, search and rescue isn't going to start till the following day if it's already late in the day. They do this as a safeguard for the search and rescue people so that they don't wind up getting lost. So in a lot of cases, you're going to spend one night, even if they're coming to get you. A lot of so-called survivalist and survival reality shows actually make it more difficult for people. They concentrate on things like creating fire and eating bugs to survive. And that's not really survival. It's actually primitive living. Look, if you need to make a fire and you have nothing more than a Bic lighter that you wrapped in duct tape, the duct tape will keep the lighter dry and also give you an ignition source if your tinder's wet. That's all you need for a fire, and you don't need any special technique to learn how to use it. And believe it or not, even a lean person with only 10% body fat has enough body fat to live for about a month without starvation. The fact is, real-world survival skills are much less entertaining. And the most important thing a hiker can do, even if it's just a day hike, is to leave a schedule with a friend or family member, somebody who's not hiking with you, somebody that'll know where to tell searchers to begin looking. Hey, be sure to hit that thumbs up and click on the notification bell. That way you don't miss part 3.